Imagine you are sitting on your couch on a Friday night. You open up your favorite streaming app to watch a movie. You have access to over 10,000 titles, virtually the entire history of human cinema right at your fingertips. And what do? You spend the next 45 minutes endlessly scrolling through the menus, reading synopses, watching trailers, paralyzed by options, until you eventually give up, close the app, and go to sleep feeling vaguely annoyed. This isn't just a minor modern inconvenience, it is a symptom of a profound psychological trap. We live in an era that worships choice. We are told that the ultimate goal of human progress is to eliminate restrictions. We want to work from anywhere, date anyone, build any career, and construct a highly customized, unique personal brand from scratch. But if total freedom is the ultimate prize, why does it feel so exhausting? Why does an abundance of choice consistently mutate into a crushing weight of anxiety? To understand why, we have to look back to Paris in 1943. While the city was under a brutal military occupation, a philosopher named Jean Paul Sartre wrote a massive text that contained an absolute paradox of a phrase. He argued that human beings are condemned to be free. Sartre didn't view freedom as a gift, a reward, or a luxury. He viewed it as a life sentence. And if you understand his argument, you will instantly realize why the layout of modern life is making us feel so profoundly burnt out. To grasp what Sartre meant, we have to look at how he defined human existence compared to everything else in the universe. Think about a paper knife, or a smartphone, or a hammer. Before any of these objects are physically created, an engineer or a creator has a concept of them in their mind. The tool has a blueprint, a defined utility, and a specific purpose. Its essence, what it's meant to do, comes before its actual existence. A hammer cannot wake up tomorrow and decide it wants to be a musical instrument. It is locked into its design. But Sartre argued that for human beings, the formula is completely reversed. Existence precedes essence. You were dropped into this world without a user manual, without a pre written script, and without an inherent cosmic purpose. You exist first. You show up, you look around, and only then do you have to figure out what you're supposed to be. This sounds liberating at first, but here is the catch. Because there is no divine blueprint, no pre programmed destiny, and no fixed human nature holding you back, you have absolutely no excuses. If a paper knife fails to cut paper, you blame the manufacturer. But if you fail to build a meaningful life, who do you blame? There is no creator to point at, no cosmic alignment to curse, and no biological programming that completely dictates your moral choices. You're completely, terrifyingly on your own. You're forced to stand at the steering wheel of your life every single second, making decisions that define who you are. Even choosing not to decide is a choice. You're trapped in an endless loop of decision making, and you're condemned to be free. And because this absolute freedom is so terrifying, human beings have spent centuries inventing clever ways to escape it. Sartre had a specific name for this psychological coping mechanism: bad faith. Bad faith happens when you pretend you aren't free. It's the act of adopting a rigid role, a script, or societal expectation so you can trick yourself into believing you have no choice in how you live. Sartre famously illustrated this using a Parisian cafe waiter. He noticed that the waiter moved a bit too quickly, carried his tray a bit too precariously, and bent towards customers with a bit too much exaggerated politeness. The man wasn't just waiting tables, he was playing the part of a waiter. He was treating himself like an inanimate object, a machine designed purely to serve coffee, because behaving like an object shields him from the terrifying reality that he could walk out the door, change his life, and face the void of uncertainty at any moment. In the modern world, we don't just practice bad faith in cafes, we've automated it. We surrender our freedom to algorithms. We let automated playlists dictate our taste in music. We let dating apps tell us who we should find attractive, and we look at trending topics to decide what we should be outraged about today. We love saying phrases like, I have to take this corporate job because that's just how the system works. And I can't change my habits because this is just my personality type. And I have to scroll through my phone for 3 hours because my brain is hardwired for dopamine. Sartre will look at our modern lifestyles and tell us that we are lying to ourselves. We pretend we are helpless biological machines trapped by circumstances because it is infinitely more comfortable to be a victim of a system than to admit that we are authors of our own timeline. So, what is the antidote to bad faith? It isn't finding a better algorithm, and it isn't waiting for the perfect set of circumstances to land in your lap. It is what Sartre called radical responsibility. If you accept that you're condemned to be free, it means you must also accept that you are entirely responsible for your own reaction to the world. You cannot control where you were born, you cannot control the macroeconomic landscape, and you cannot control the family dynamics you inherited. Existentialists call these unchangeable facts about your facticity. But your facticity is just the raw material. What that raw material means is entirely up to you. If you lose your business, you can define that event as a catastrophic end to your career, or you can define it as the mandatory prerequisite chapter for your eventual comeback story. The event itself is neutral. Your choice of interpretation is where your freedom lives. This realization is incredibly heavy, but is also the only true source of personal agency. It means you'll no longer have to wait for permission to change your direction, you don't need a lifestyle guru to give you a blueprint, and you don't need an algorithm to validate your path. You are the author. Every choice you make, from the creative projects you launch to the financial boundaries you set, is an act of literal self creation. So the next time you find yourself paralyzed by choices, frozen by the infinite scroll of content, or feeling like a helpless cog in an online ecosystem, take a step back and remember Sartre's paradox. The anxiety you're feeling isn't a sign that something is broken inside you, it is simply the dizziness of freedom. It is the realization that the horizon is completely open and the responsibility to act belongs entirely to you. Stop looking for a pre written script. Accept the weight of the steering wheel, step out of bad faith, and start actively deciding what your existence is going to mean. How are you going to use your freedom this week? Are you going to keep letting an algorithm design your focus, or are you going to write your own timeline? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that follow button to upgrade your mindset layout. I'll see you in the next video.